Australian lady convicted about talking about the Prophet. Yeah, that was an interesting case. That's an interesting. Can we be? And I watched some videos on. Sorry, I watched a video on YouTube by ex-Muslims, for example, questioning just like a kind of public poll conducted by Vidovids and on can we criticize Muhammad, or should we be allowed to? Should we be penalized for criticizing the Prophet Muhammad or criticizing Islam? I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a certain amount of it, and I could see that they were mixed. But one theme that I saw recurring right throughout that public poll was that people were saying, and this was non-Muslims as well, that it's more about how you criticize. And I think that's, you see, because I believe and support freedom of speech, okay, freedom of belief, freedoms of expression, of these kind of things. I feel are mandatory in our day and age for humans to prosper. So where do we? So the question would be that does that not entitle us to critique religion? Does that not allow us to? And I would say it does allow us to critique religion. And if somebody asked me that as a non-Muslim, can they critique Islam? I would say that they absolutely can critique Islam, and they can. If they would say, can they critique God? Can they critique the prophets? I mean, that is they have free will. They can do these things. They are people who do not believe perhaps in God. They do not believe in his prophets. They do not believe in revelation, and that's fine. I would, however, say that there is something about breaching the peace where things are not necessarily critiques, but they are just it is just inflammatory insults that are just constantly being hurled under the banner of freedom of speech. Now that becomes an interesting kind of arena, an interesting ground at that stage. That where do you draw the line then? Because I don't feel that just because freedom of expression is really so people can move forward. It is a progressive thing. It is not about just being condescending. It is not about just trying to hurt people. That's not what it was ever meant to be about. Although in the process the truth may hurt and offend certain people. So this is it is a subtle yet a such an instrumental difference and a point that yes, the truth can offend people, and if they are offended, then tough. That is true, and I support that. But the right to express what you believe to be true was never about just solely trying to hurt people. That was a byproduct. So the issue is when the objectives get switched around and people do things to incite a kind of hatred against a people. They try to kind of dehumanize other people and they try to slander them and do things under the banner of free speech. Then I think that's an interesting dialogue that has to be had, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the sole objective of just trying to cause harm to people. I disagree with that, and I don't support people that do that. do support people that believe they are seeking the truth, and they want to express it even if it does offend people. That is a different category of people. That's like Muslims. That can be Muslim. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It could be anybody. And in fact, one would argue that was the primary mission of prophets in Islam, was to speak what they believed to be the truth, and it was offensive to their people. So when the Prophet spoke about these statues are not actually true deities and they're not gods, that was incredibly offensive. But the Prophet was never trying to offend the people. He was just trying to state to them the reality, in saying that, look, these superstitions are detrimental. So yes, I hope that sheds some light on this whole thing. But yeah, I do agree, it's an interesting dilemma, that where do people draw the line? All right, people, so what else is going on?